Welcome to How Preschool Teachers Do It.
I'm Cynthia.
I'm Alison.
And we have a combined 55 years of experience working with children, families, and experts in early education.
We are not random influencers.
No, we are not. Whether you are new or have been our podcast peeps since 2018, we are thrilled you found us. Hello, preschool peeps.
Hi, peeps.
Welcome back to the podcast. In our last episode, which if you have not listened or watched that one, please go back and do it. We mentioned what the topic was going to be for this episode, and we are going to talk about children and grief. Yeah. And there was something that brought that up. But before we get to it...
It was not calling people their mom.
Yeah, in the last episode, but I mean the idea for the topic.
Oh, you said you were at a school where a child had just lost their mother.
Yeah. Yeah, I was. Yeah.
So and the child was really young.
Yeah, very young.
Yeah.
So anyway, before we get into that, let's shout out, because let's start with something upbeat. We're going to shout out the places around the world and in the country, a couple places where we are being listened to. You're in our stats.
Yay. That's a good thing. So we're shouting out the people in Malaysia today. So hello. And also the people in Nashua or Nashua, I'm not quite sure how to say this, in New Hampshire.
I've always called it, now I don't know what I call it, now that you said it both ways. Nashua? I don't know what I call it now.
I call it Nashua.
Nashua? It's our New Jersey accent.
It might just be an accent
We're sorry.
thing. Sorry.
We're sorry.
Yeah.
But we know you're there in New Hampshire.
Yeah, so hi.
So thank you. Thank you for being among our preschool peeps. So I was in a program recently, and they were telling me about a child who, very young, whose mother had died. And we were talking about it for a little bit, and how that was kind of playing out in the early childhood program in ways that I'm sure many people can imagine. The child regressed a bit in her skills. There was more anxiety. The child refused to rest. Things like that. It's a typical, within the average sort of regression that we might see when there's been that sort of upheaval in the family. It reminded me of a situation in my family, which took place now an unbelievable 16 years ago, when my cousin, who was in her 30s, passed away, and she had two very young children when she died, and her husband did a fantastic job of navigating his family through that, with a lot of help, by the way, going to groups and therapy and all sorts of things, and of course the support of the grandparents. But it definitely, it impacts children. And I know that we may have talked about it in the past, but we haven't talked about grief and children in a long time. Yeah. So I felt like there's even more information today, because this person was talking to me about the child in their care at that program. I thought, this is something that could still be on people's minds. So it's going to be important to talk about. Yeah. So here we are. We're here to talk about it. We may see a lot of things with young children when this happens. The sort of regression that I talked about, mood shifts, right? Mood changes. And that can go either way. They can become more moody, or they could seem like they have no mood at all.
Yeah.
It can really go either way. Children either externalize what they're experiencing or internalize it. When children externalize what they're experiencing and they're upset, then we see it through behaviors that may fall outside of what we would expect at that age. When children internalize it, they withdraw, they become quieter, and it's less noticeable. Yeah. But either one can happen when children experience such a significant loss. And that loss, by the way, doesn't have to just be someone who's raising them. That loss could be a grandparent. Yep. That loss could be a pet. Yes. That loss could be a lot of things. So when they're experiencing loss and grief, what it looks like in early childhood is this sort of moodiness, regression. They may also develop there are like these thinking things that they develop. Like they may have to be told over and over and over again about what's happened and what that means in their lives. So we need to know how to say that. They might insist this person is coming back, which, shouldn't really surprise us so much, because I think when any of us are grieving, we have moments where we feel like, oh, I just picked up the phone to text or call this person and realized they weren't here.
Yeah.
Or we hear a door open and think it's them. It's
Yes.
not, some people call this children's magical thinking. I don't think it's so magical.
Yeah.
I think it's part of the adjustment period of shifting your life to be without this common activity with this person.
Right.
They may also have physical symptoms. So they may be saying things like, my head hurts, my tummy hurts.
Yes.
They may not eat or not sleep, or eat more or sleep more. It can go either way, just like mood can go either way, right? So it can totally go either way. So whichever way you see could be a reaction to this loss. I also want to point out, now that I think of it, grief and loss don't only pertain to death. I was a child who moved a lot.
Yeah.
And so when we moved or we switched schools, there was loss. There was loss of day-to-day friendships.
Your familiar surroundings.
Loss of my familiar environment.
Yep.
Children who've been in a familiar environment then come to you, maybe struggling with loss.
Right. I think divorce also,
Separation and divorce. Any children who are born with a temperament where change is more difficult for them, any kind of major change like that is going to be loss. I think we need to remember loss isn't only death.
Yeah.
Right? Loss can mean a lot of things. So then the question is, how do we support children, right? How do we support them when they're grieving a death?
Yeah.
How do we support them when there's been a loss? How do we talk to them in a way that they will understand? And that is reality. There have been a lot of these magical stories that adults have told children about what happens when there's a death, for example. It's not okay to tell them, the dog went to live on a farm. We need to explain to them about the life cycle.
I know somebody who did that with their dog. They said they went to go live on a farm, and the child kept asking, well, can we go drive to the farm? I want to go see my dog.
Yeah.
And they kept saying, no, the farm is really far away. And the child kept saying, well, we'll just take an airplane then. Like, they just kept saying, there's no reason for us not to go to the farm. Like, they did not understand.
It is, when we, as adults, whether you're a family member or an educator, we are supposed to be their most trusted people. Yeah. I believe that when we bold-faced lie to children, that we have the possibility of breaking that trust. Yeah. Think about how many adults still talk about, when my dog died, my parents told me this. Isn't that ridiculous? There's still some some emotion behind that for a lot of people.
It's a betrayal.
It is.
Like you said, you trust your parent to tell you the truth all the time. And when you find out that's not true, it's like that's eroded now.
We are their truth keepers.
Yes.
But we have to do it in a developmentally appropriate way. So an example I found when we were researching was, it said to be direct and use simple language. And you can tell children something like, their body stopped working.
Yeah.
Their body doesn't work anymore. We can still remember them. Right.
Yeah.
Right? We still can talk about them. Their body isn't working anymore. And we shouldn't say things like, they're sleeping. That's scary to them.
Oh, yeah, because they went going to sleep then.
Even they went on a trip or they went somewhere, the children could be afraid.
Yeah. Or sometimes I've heard this and I don't know where it comes from, so I don't know. They just stepped into the other room.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm like, wow.
They sure did.
Yeah.
Like the other dimension.
And I'm like, how does that help though? Like when you're saying that, I get like when you're also as an adult grieving this loss, it is hard to talk about. So I get that. But
it is. It takes me back to when my father died and my children were very young. And we told them when he was sick, first of all, we never used the word sick.
Yeah.
My father had cancer. Yeah. We used the word cancer.
Yeah.
It was actually, I went to the pediatrician and said, what do you think? And the pediatrician said, use the word cancer. It's a particular condition.
Yes.
Let the child know that your father has cancer when he was diagnosed. Yeah. So that your child doesn't think it's the head cold, it's the flu, it's the stomach virus.
And now I'm going to die.
Right.
Yes.
So when my father was receiving treatment, we always said that it was for his cancer.
Yeah.
When he died, we prepared the children. We told them that his cancer was not getting better and that eventually his body would stop working.
Yeah.
something like that. I don't know if we use those words, but something like that. And that, we weren't going to see him anymore when that happened. And we prepared them. So then imagine this. My children were like 3 and 7, both of them early childhood people. My father dies. My sister and I sat down with them and said, okay, Papa has died. So his cancer is done. Yeah. His body isn't working anymore. Like, we did the whole thing.
Right.
And my children just looked at us, and I suddenly realized they don't know the implications of this. Right. They don't remember that.
Right.
You have to repeat these things over and over. Yeah. So when I said to my children, you understand that means we're not going to see Papa anymore. He's not going to be with us for holidays. He's not coming to the house. We're not going to see him when we visit Graham. That's when they cried.
Yeah.
Because that was the part that got them, and that they didn't remember from all the preparation that we did. Right. So just know you're going to have to repeat yourself.
Yeah.
My advice as someone who's been through it is to say to the children, we're not going to see this person anymore. And I said to them, we love you. We are here for you. Yeah. We can still talk about Papa. We can still remember him, and we have pictures of him, and they still talk about my dad really respectfully, even though they really don't have much memory of him at this age. They're adults now, my children, so they don't really have much memory. My older son remembers more than my younger one, but there's just so much respect when they talk about that, and sort of a hushed, like they really respect what had happened. So children, when you're talking to them and you're saying things like their body stopped working, so we're not going to see them anymore, we can still talk about them. We can still love them. We are here for you. We are safe. We will be here. They're going to worry you're going to disappear. Yeah. Right? So something like that. Another thing that I didn't know when my children were young, I mean, granted, it wasn't their parent, but still, we didn't know to make sure they understand they're not to blame. Children blame themselves for their parents' separation, for divorce. Yep. They blame themselves for a lot of things because they don't understand how the world works and how bodies work and all that. So they need to know, and you need to say out loud, this is nobody's fault. This is not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. You're not to blame. This has nothing to do with anything you've done. You are wonderful the way you are. Yes. We are here. We are going to be together. We're going to be safe. One of the reactions my 7-year-old had when my father died was he didn't want to go back to school. He was afraid to leave us. Yeah. He hadn't seen my father in a hot minute because my father was so bad at the end that I didn't want them to see that, or even to see it. Yeah. There's no reason for a young child to see that from my perception. Right. So we didn't bring them at the end, so they hadn't seen him in a hot minute, and they were like, sure, my older one, the 7-year-old, was like, well, if I leave, then what changes now? Yeah. So he wouldn't, and he had such a wonderful teacher. We called the school. We explained that he was going to be home with us and that we were having a hard time getting him to go back. We wanted him to go back to school while things were being worked out, but he didn't want to, and we said we're going to just keep him home. His teacher called. Aww. It was so sweet. Not only did his teacher call, but his teacher came and visited when the family visits. Yeah. His teacher came. Yeah. And we were so shocked to see his teacher. He got our address. He came. God bless Mr. Rosenberg, wherever he is, because he was phenomenal. And he came, and he walked in. We were like, thank you so much. And he sat with my son. Oh, wow. Yeah. And he said to my son, your friends at school miss you. I miss you. Yeah. We would love, I'm getting choked up. This is, how many years ago? My father died in 2001. We're talking 25 years ago. Yeah. He said to him, I miss you. Your friends miss you. We need you back at school. Class isn't the same without you. And that's what got him to go. I'm still to this day, Mr. Rosenberg, I'm still indebted to you.
I'm going to cry. I didn't even.
Oh my God. He was the best teacher ever. It's important if you are an educator and a child suffers a loss in the family and you decide I'm going to go. You don't have to, but you decide I'm going to go. Please sit and talk with that child and say how much you miss them, because it meant everything to my son. Yeah. So confirm all that. Do the best you can to keep him in a routine, which is why we wanted my son to go back to school until things were afoot. But
Yeah.
Okay. Do the best you can. Children will express that grief in a variety of ways. Through doll play.
Yeah. And I think it's normal because I know teachers who get freaked out when they see that. But you have to let them do it.
Let them do it.
You have to let them do it. It's how they're processing it. You need to let it happen instead of stopping it. And I know it's not comfortable to see sometimes, but you have to let them do it.
You know what I remember after 9/11? I was a classroom teacher at that point.
I also
They were recreating
Yeah.
the tragedy in New York
Yeah.
in the block area.
Yes.
And there were some adults who were so uncomfortable, and I was like, they got to do it.
Let them do it.
Let them do it.
Yeah.
This is how they're processing what's
Yeah.
happened to them.
Yeah.
So you may see them pretend things, say things, build things, create things.
Yeah.
Let them do
Let
it.
'em
They
do it.
also express themselves through the visual arts. They might draw it.
Yeah.
And you just because it makes us uncomfortable or we're sad, it's an injustice
Yeah.
to go to them and ask them to stop.
Right.
This is how they get it out.
Yeah.
You know, lots of patience and deep breathing for us. I think.
Yeah.
You know, it's okay for the adults to be sad.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think that's kind of, when I was a kid, my grandfather died and I didn't really know him.
Mm-hmm.
I only have one memory of him. I think I was like maybe 3 years old. And my dad, instead of grieving in front of us, because he didn't want us to see that, would take hikes in the woods and do it there. And I honestly, and I know that's what he needed to do, maybe for himself, but it made it seem like grief was wrong, like you had to hide it.
No.
And I remember growing up thinking, like, this is, I guess you just got to hide this. And it's okay to show any emotion in front of your child. Like, right? So, like, because they need to know what is the healthy way to grieve.
So my same son who didn't want to go back to school.
Yeah.
He was 7. He wanted to go to the funeral with us. And in generations past, that would not have been allowed.
Yeah.
But I said, if he wants to come, he's coming.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's scary to them.
Right.
They can't imagine what happens at this funeral if you don't bring them, if they
Yeah.
want to go.
Yeah.
My 3-year-old stayed home with a friend. He was not as interested, but my 7-year-old was like, I want to go, I want to go. So we told him, people may cry.
Yeah.
The grown-ups may cry. And that's okay. It's because they're sad and they're going to miss Papa
Right.
too.
Yeah.
It's okay if you cry. It's okay that they're crying. Like we prepared them for the
Yeah.
emotion.
Yeah.
And still he was, oh my goodness, he was so sad. And so it was really hard for him.
Yeah.
But I think that when we are supportive as adults, it helps them
Right.
to see that it's going to be okay. It just takes time for them to see that.
Yeah.
Right. Think about something else, other kinds of loss like separation or divorce can be felt as a loss
Yeah.
to children. The loss of something that was predictable, the loss of what they know as a family.
Right.
To say, you know, we all love you. This has nothing to do with you. And please don't use them if you can. Don't use them as some sort of pawn in the divorce. You know, we need to make sure that when you speak about the other person, no matter how we may feel about them, it's done in a respectful way so that the children understand it's okay. There's not going to be like hate in the air all the
Right.
time.
Right.
Because it affects them.
It does.
So as mature as we all can be,
Yeah.
and any other things that need to take place when they are not in the building.
Yes.
Not just when they're not in the room, folks.
Yeah.
Because they know what's happening.
Walls are thin.
When they are not in the building.
Yeah.
And maybe even through lawyers
Yes.
instead of through all of
Yes.
you. Let the lawyers handle it. That's
Yes.
why there are lawyers.
Yeah.
So lots of gently showing them it's okay to be sad. It's okay for us to be sad in separation and divorce too. You know what? There's nothing wrong with looking at your child and saying, yeah, I'm sad we're not all living together either. This isn't what I pictured either.
Right.
Right? This isn't not something that I thought was going to happen either when you were born.
Yeah.
But here we are, and we're
Yeah,
going to do it
and we're gonna
together,
do
and
it.
we're going to be strong and happy, and
Yes,
we're going to
and
do
we're
it
all gonna be
together.
okay, yeah.
And we're all going to be okay, and we'll
Yeah.
take turns, and we'll whatever it is whatever it's going to be. And then there's an important point to watch for longer term issues. Be aware if children are avoiding the topic.
Yeah.
whatever the topic is, because avoidance doesn't help them to learn coping skills. And I'm not going to say to them, look, you have to talk about it. You have to talk about it. I'm not going to just be aware if there's avoidance. And my advice in that case, honestly, is get the help of a mental health professional.
Yes.
Because they will help you to kind of step by step. What do I do if the child is avoiding the topic? Right? What do I do? Because for us to just look at children and say it's okay to talk about it doesn't help them not avoid it.
Right. Right.
Right? Mental health professionals know best.
Yes.
So a little disclaimer, we are not mental health professionals.
Correct.
And I want to try and remember to put that disclaimer in the description of this episode.
Yeah.
So I hope that you all find this helpful, even just to think about the words you use and the way that we bring ourselves to the situation, whatever the situation is. And by the way, I always like to tell people how things turned out. Today, my cousin's children, both one of them recently started college, the other will be graduating, I think, this year.
Yeah.
And you know, they're these wonderful, responsible, wonderful people. So it can be done.
Yes.
It can be done. Just everyone around the children needs to be sensitive to it.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Just this one quick story before we go. I recently did an observation in the preschool that my cousin's children went to.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I said, when I went, I said, so my cousin's children attended here. And the director had been there all along.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Wow. And I said, my cousin's children attended here. And they said, who's that? And I gave the names. And she said, she looked at me, she went, oh. She still remembered.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, it's been a long time, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, okay, folks. On that note, I think we just give you space to think about all this. If you have other ideas and tips, you know how to reach us. We say it at the end of every episode and sometimes maybe at the beginning.
Yeah.
And we will catch you next time on the podcast.
Bye, peeps.